The Galactic Penal Administration had made, what they assumed, was a perfectly reasonable decision. Marcus Webb, human cargo hauler and notorious smartass, had violated 17 shipping regulations, insulted a Vorlaxian trade minister, and somehow managed to crash a freight vessel into a tax collection satellite. On purpose, apparently. So naturally, they sentenced him to Krell 4. Administrator Vix Thorne sat in his climate-controlled office, all four of his eye stalks focused on the observation monitor. Krell 4 rotated slowly on the screen, a disgusting ball of green and blue chaos that made his skin membranes twitch with revulsion. Class-9 Deathworlds were not meant for punishment, they were meant to be avoided, quarantined, studied from a distance of at least 3-star systems, but humans. Humans apparently came from one. This is barbaric, his assistant, a young phoenix named Cora, chittered nervously. Her antenna drooped with concern. We are essentially executing him. He called the trade minister a quote, overgrown slug with delusions of competence, unquote, Vix Thorne said flatly. On live broadcast. During trade negotiations. We have standards to maintain. But sir, the survival rate on Class 9 worlds is 0.03% for most species, Vix Thorne interrupted, a hint of satisfaction in his voice. I am aware. Drop him. The pod launched. 6 to 7 hours later, Vix Thorne received the first transmission. He had been sipping his morning nutrient paste, enjoying the peaceful silence of knowing Marcus Webb was probably being digested by something with too many teeth, when the communication array lit up like a festival display. Administrator Vix Thorne. The communications officer, a Dralex named Pim, practically vibrated with confusion. We are receiving a transmission. From Krell 4. From the human. Vix Thorne's eye stalks swiveled so fast he nearly gave himself a migraine. Impossible. Open the channel. Marcus Webb's face appeared on the screen, and he looked, infuriatingly, completely fine. His dark hair was messy, sure, and there was what appeared to be purple plant matter stuck to his jacket, but he was grinning. Actually grinning. Hey there, Administrator, stick up your thorax, Marcus said cheerfully. Quick question. Did you guys do any research before you dumped me here? Or was this just a, let us wing it and hope for the best, kind of situation? Vix Thorne's mouth parts clicked together in fury. You are supposed to be dead. Yeah, about that. Marcus shifted, and the camera view expanded to show he was sitting on what appeared to be a large, flat rock near a beach. Waves crashed in the background. 2 of Krell 4's 3 moons hung in a purple-tinged sky. So, I have been here almost 3 standard days, and I have got to say, I am loving it. Really? You know what this place reminds me of? I do not care what, Bora Bora, Marcus continued, completely ignoring him. Mixed with, like, Costa Rica. But with better fishing. Oh man, the fishing here is incredible. Caught something this morning that looked like a cross between a barracuda and a porcupine. Tasted like lobster. 10 out of 10, would recommend. Cora leaned over Vix Thorne's shoulder, her antenna quivering. Is he reviewing the Deathworld? I can hear you, antenna lady, Marcus called out. And yes, I am reviewing it. Because somebody, he looked pointedly at Vix Thorne, needs to update your planetary classification system. Class 9 Deathworld. Please. This is a luxury resort with slightly aggressive wildlife. Vix Thorne felt his organs shifting with stress. There are 17 species on that planet capable of killing a Dralex in under 4 seconds. Cool. Marcus nodded thoughtfully. How many of them are capable of killing a human in under 4 seconds? Silence. That is what I thought, Marcus said, satisfaction dripping from every word. Listen, I am going to send you my first official report. Think of it as a review of your punishment attempt. Might want to take notes. The transmission shifted, and text began scrolling across the screen. Vix Thorne read it with increasing horror. Day 1, landed in what your records call the scorch wastes. Temperature holding steady at 48 degrees Celsius. Bit warm, I will admit, but I once worked a summer in Arizona, so honestly. Not that different. Found water source within 3 hours. Your files say the water contains, quote, lethal concentrations of heavy metals, unquote. Drank it anyway. Slight metallic aftertaste. Added some local berries I found. Pretty refreshing actually. Call it a 7 out of 10. Would drink again if dehydrated. Impossible, Vix Thorne whispered, the text continued. Day 2, encountered your quote, apex predator, unquote. The Krell stalker. Big cat thing. Maybe 4 meters long. Lots of teeth. Very impressive. It tried to ambush me near the water hole. Here is the thing though, and I cannot stress this enough, it telegraphed its attack pattern like a drunk amateur. Also, it had never encountered prey that fights back. Confused the hell out of it. We had a brief disagreement. I won. Currently using its hide as a blanket. Very soft. Would make an excellent jacket. 9 out of 10 for comfort. Pym made a choking sound. He killed a Krell stalker. With what weapons? Marcus's voice came back on audio. Oh, Pym buddy, I can hear you. To answer your question, a rock and pure spite. Your boy here is from Earth. We invented persistence hunting. We evolved specifically to be the thing that never stops chasing you. This big cat thing. It gave up after 20 minutes. I was just getting warmed up. Vix Thorn was now experiencing what human doctors might call a panic attack. His eye stalks were waving independently, his breathing sacs hyperventilating. Day 3, the text continued. Explored the jungle region your scouts designated as quote, instant death zone, unquote. Found it surprisingly pleasant. Lots of shade. Plenty of edible fruits, once you figure out which ones are not actively trying to poison you. Pro tip, if it smells like almonds, do not eat it. If it smells like nothing, definitely do not eat it. If it smells vaguely like pineapple. Safe bet. Made a salad. 7 out of 10. Could use dressing. Marcus reappeared on screen, leaning back casually. Oh, and I built a shelter. Nothing fancy, just a little hut near the beach. Good ventilation. Ocean view. Honestly. Better than my apartment back on Lunar Station. That place was a showbox with delusions of adequacy. This is not possible, Vix Thorn said, though his conviction was wavering. The native fauna is super scared of fire, Marcus interrupted. Which, fun fact, you guys apparently never discovered, because none of your scout species uses it. I built a torch on night 1. Everything here runs away from it like I am wielding a tactical nuke. It is actually kind of sad. I feel like a bully. Cora's voice was barely a whisper. Sir, what do we do? There is more, Pym said weakly, pointing at the screen. Marcus was holding up what appeared to be a handmade wooden sign. Burned into it were the words, Webb's Beach Resort, now open for business, reservations not required. So here is my proposal, Marcus said, his grin widening. You guys clearly made a mistake with the whole, drop me on a Deathworld thing. I am willing to forgive that, because I am a reasonable guy. But in exchange, I want a few things. First, full pardon. Second, my shipping license restored. And third, I want exclusive tourism rights to Krell 4. Tourism rights. Vix Thorn sputtered. To a Deathworld. Correction, to a tropical paradise that you guys have been ignoring because you are all, biologically speaking, kind of wimps. No offense. Complete offense. Vix Thorn shrieked. Look, Marcus said, his tone becoming almost reasonable. I have been thinking about this. Your species, your entire alliance actually, evolved on low-gravity worlds with stable temperatures and minimal predators. You think anything above 30 degrees Celsius is lethal. You consider a stiff breeze to be an extreme weather event. Meanwhile, humans. We are from a planet that actively tried to kill us for millions of years. We got good at not dying. He stood up, camera following, and gestured at the landscape behind him. Massive trees stretched into the sky. Strange flying creatures wheeled overhead. In the distance, something roared. This place is not a Deathworld to me, Marcus said softly. It is home with better scenery. The transmission ended. Vix Thorn sat in silence for a full 3 minutes. Finally, Cora spoke. Sir, what are your orders? The administrator looked at the blank screen, then at his assistant, then back at the screen. His eye stalks drooped in defeat. Get me legal affairs, he said quietly. And someone find out who approved dumping a human on a Class-9 world without running behavioral simulations first. Because whoever did that just created a problem we are not equipped to handle. What problem, sir? Vix Thorn pulled up Marcus's file, scrolling through the incident reports. Bar fights won against Kralian mercenaries. Survived a hull breach in the Tau sector. Once talked his way out of a pirate blockade by convincing them they had the wrong ship. The problem, Vix Thorn said, is that we have not punished Marcus Webb at all. We have given him a vacation. And knowing humans, he is absolutely going to turn it into a business opportunity. On the screen, a new message notification appeared. The subject line read, Day 4 update, plus recipe for Krell stalker steaks. Cora read the preview text aloud. 5-star protein source. Cooks well over open flame. Pairs excellently with those purple berries I mentioned. Recommend medium rare. Administrator Vix Thorn put his head down on his desk and contemplated early retirement. This was only the beginning point. 3 weeks later, Administrator Vix Thorn was seriously considering throwing himself out of an airlock. The conference room was packed. Representatives from 12 different species sat around the polished table, all of them staring at him with expressions ranging from confusion to outright hostility. The Vorlaxian trade minister, the same one Marcus had insulted, was present. His slug-like body quivered with what Vixthorn hoped was not murderous intent. "Explain," the minister gurgled, "how a human prisoner has filed a legal claim for territorial development rights on a death world." Vixthorn's eye stalks wilted. "It is complicated." "Uncomplicated," snapped Commander Thex, a Cranian military officer whose scales were turning an aggressive shade of orange. "My troops train for months to survive 48 hours on Class 7 worlds. This human has been on a Class 9 for 22 standard days and is apparently," he checked his datapad, "hosting cooking tutorials." "Video cooking tutorials," Cora corrected quietly from the corner. "He has 17 million subscribers across the network." The room erupted. 17 million. How is that possible? Who is watching this? Vixthorn wanted to crawl into his shell and never emerge. Apparently, beings across the galaxy find his survival content, and I quote, "wildly entertaining and weirdly calming," unquote. Pym activated the wall display. Marcus Webb's latest broadcast filled the screen. He was standing knee-deep in what the planetary database labeled as the Crimson Marsh, a toxic swamp where the air itself was supposedly acidic enough to dissolve chitin. Marcus was grinning like an idiot. "Okay folks, today we are making what I call swamp surprise stew," he announced cheerfully, holding up something that looked like a cross between a crab and a centipede. "Now, I know what you are thinking. Marcus, that thing has stingers." "Yes, Gary from the Andromeda sector, I see your comment. Yes, they are venomous. But here is the secret." He proceeded to expertly break off the stingers, toss them aside, and crack open the creature's shell. "The venom sacs are right here, see? You just remove those, careful now, and boom. You have got about 2 pounds of meat that tastes like a spicy shrimp had a baby with a chicken wing. Incredible stuff." A Phoenix representative stood up abruptly. "He is eating a marsh render. Those creatures have killed 3 separate survey teams. He is also," Pym added helpfully, "teaching people how to identify edible plants in the background. See? He has labeled everything." Indeed, Marcus had created a small garden of sorts, with handmade signs stuck in the ground. "Safe for humans. Toxic, but makes good insect repellent. Will kill you immediately, do not touch." "The organizational system is actually quite thorough," Cora observed. Vixthorn glared at her. "You are not helping." The broadcast continued. Marcus had moved on to discussing shelter improvements. "So last week, I mentioned the beach hut. Great starter home, really, but I have been thinking bigger. Check this out." The camera panned to reveal a structure that made every being in the conference room gasp. It was a genuine building, 2 stories tall, constructed from local timber and stone. It had windows, a roof, what appeared to be a functional chimney. "Welcome to Webb's Lodge," Marcus said proudly. "Took me about 9 days to build. Could have been faster, but I wanted to do it right. Got running water from the stream. I built a filtration system using sand and charcoal. Fire pit for cooking. And this," he opened a door, "is the guest room." "Guest room," the Vorlaxian minister sputtered. "Who does he expect to visit?" As if on cue, Marcus continued. "Now, I know what you are all thinking. Marcus, you insane human, why build a guest room?" Well, funny story. I have been getting messages. Lots of messages. Apparently, some of you folks out there want to visit. The conference room went silent. "He is joking," Commander Thex said, though he sounded uncertain. Marcus pulled out a datapad, human-made and surprisingly intact. "I have got about 4,000 inquiries so far. Mostly from humans, yeah, but also some Dralex adrenaline junkies, a few Cranian military types who want to test themselves, and," he squinted at the screen, 3 Vorlaxians, who say they want to prove their species is not, quote, "biologically inferior cowards," unquote. The trade minister made a strangled sound. "So here is the deal," Marcus said, his tone shifting to something almost businesslike. "I have filed the proper paperwork with the Galactic Land Development Commission. Krell 4 is currently unclaimed territory, outside established jurisdiction. According to Section 47 of the Frontier Settlement Act, any being who can demonstrate sustained habitation and resource development can file a territorial claim." Vixthorn felt his organs twist. He did his research. "I have been here 22 days, Marcus continued. "I have built permanent shelter. I have established sustainable food sources. I have documented the local ecosystem. And," he grinned wickedly, "I have demonstrated that this planet poses 0 threat to human habitation. Which means it does not qualify for Deathworld protection status anymore. That is not how classification works." Vixthorn shouted at the screen. "Actually, sir," Cora said hesitantly, "according to the regulations, If a species can demonstrate safe habitation without technological support beyond basic tools, the classification can be challenged. Every eye stalk in the room turned toward her. What? She squeaked. The Phoenix representative was frantically scrolling through legal documents on his own datapad. She is correct. The classification system is based on survivability, not objective danger. If humans can survive here, then by definition, it is not a death world for humans. That is insane, Commander Thex growled. That is bureaucracy, the Vorlaxian minister corrected sourly. Marcus was wrapping up his broadcast. So, to all my followers out there, keep those questions coming. I am working on a basic guidebook for human visitors. Tips for survival, best fishing spots, which creatures to avoid and which ones are actually pretty chill once you establish dominance. Oh, and to Administrator Vixthorn, if you are watching, and I know you are, I am formally requesting a meeting to discuss business opportunities. The transmission ended with Marcus waving cheerfully at the camera, a gorgeous sunset painting the sky behind him in shades of purple and gold. The conference room remained silent for approximately 15 seconds. Then everyone started yelling at once. This is unprecedented. We cannot allow civilian settlement of Class 9 worlds. My government demands oversight. I want his recipe for that stew thing. Vixthorn slammed his manipulator appendage on the table, producing a sound that cut through the chaos. Enough. All of you, silence. The room quieted, though hostile glares remained fixed on him. Here is what we are going to do, Vixthorn said, his voice tight with exhaustion. We are going to send a diplomatic team to Krell 4. We are going to assess this situation properly. And we are going to determine, once and for all, whether Marcus Webb has a legitimate claim, or if he is simply a very lucky idiot who has not died yet. And if his claim is legitimate, the Vorlaxian minister asked. Vixthorn looked at the frozen image of Marcus on the screen, at his confident grin, and his impossible beach resort, and his handmade lodge. He thought about the cooking videos and the survival guides and the 4,000 beings who wanted to visit a planet that should have killed this human 17 times over by now. Then we are going to have to accept something that frankly terrifies me, Vixthorn said quietly. That humans do not survive death worlds. They move in, renovate, and charge admission. Commander Thex leaned back in his seat. You know what the worst part is? What? Several beings asked simultaneously. I kind of want to visit now. That sunset looked incredible. Vixthorn buried his face in his manipulator appendages. 4 days later, the diplomatic shuttle touched down on Krell 4. Marcus Webb was waiting at the landing site, which he had cleared and marked with helpful signage. Welcome to paradise, one sign read. Please do not feed the wildlife, they are on a diet. Vixthorn descended the ramp, flanked by security officers and legal consultants. The planet's air hit him immediately. Hot, humid, filled with unfamiliar scents. His environmental suit regulated his temperature, but he could feel the oppressive atmosphere even through the filtration system. Marcus stood there in casual clothing, no environmental suit, no breathing apparatus, looking completely at ease. He was even tanned, somehow looking healthier than he had 3 weeks ago. Administrator Vix. Marcus called out cheerfully. Welcome, welcome. I hope the flight was not too rough. Can I interest you in some refreshments? I have been experimenting with fermentation, and let me tell you, these local fruits make an excellent wine. I am not here for refreshments, Vixthorn said coldly. I am here to determine if your claim has any validity. Fair enough. Marcus gestured toward a well-worn path leading into the jungle. Follow me. I will give you the grand tour. Watch out for the branches, some of them have thorns. Not deadly thorns, just annoying thorns. The tour took 3 hours. Marcus showed them the lodge, the water filtration system, the food gardens, the fishing spots, the defensive perimeter he had established against larger predators. Everything was meticulously organized, sustainable, and completely functional. Cora, who had insisted on coming along, was taking notes on everything. This is remarkable, she kept muttering. Absolutely remarkable. They encountered a Krell stalker, one of the apex predators. It took one look at Marcus, made a sound that might have been resignation, and wandered away. We have an understanding, Marcus explained. I do not hunt in their territory, they do not try to eat me. Simple. You negotiated with an apex predator, Vixthorn said flatly. I mean, negotiated is a strong word. More like, I established consequences for bad behavior and they adapted. Same way you train any animal, really. By the time they returned to the lodge, Vixthorn was forced to admit something he really did not want to admit. The claim was legitimate. Marcus Webb had genuinely established habitation on a Class 9 world. By himself. In less than a month. So, Marcus said, pouring something that looked disturbingly alcoholic into wooden cups, about those tourism rights. Vixthorn sat down heavily on a handmade chair that was, annoyingly, quite comfortable. You are serious about this, he said. Deadly serious. Look, I get it. This planet scares the hell out of most species. But humans? We will pay good money to vacation here. Extreme camping, adventure tourism, survival challenges. This place is a goldmine, and you guys were going to just leave it empty. Because it is lethal. To you, maybe. Marcus grinned. To me? It is home. Vixthorn looked at Cora. She shrugged helplessly. I will need to consult with the council, Vixthorn said finally. Take your time, Marcus said. I will be here. Building, fishing, living my best life on the planet you tried to use as an execution method. He raised his wooden cup in a mock toast. Thanks for the vacation, by the way. Really needed the break. Vixthorn did not throw his cup at him, though it was a close thing. 6 months later, Webb's Paradise Resort opened for business. It accommodated 50 guests at a time, all human or similarly resilient species. The reviews were glowing. 5 stars across the board. Best vacation ever. Genuinely life-changing experience. The food was incredible. Marcus Webb became obscenely wealthy, and Administrator Vixthorn learned a valuable lesson about humans that the rest of the galaxy would soon understand as well. You cannot punish a human by sending them somewhere dangerous. You can only give them a new challenge. And they will absolutely, definitely, turn it into a business opportunity. Somewhere in the Galactic Penal Administration archives, Krell 4's classification was quietly changed from Class 9 Deathworld to Class 2 Extreme Tourism Destination, humans only. The note attached simply read, "We tried."